All right, GM, we are back. We are talking olo.ex. We're going to find out how to be a better gamer, a better trader, but just be better at Web3, man. I think that's just like the bottom line to all this. Path, dependency, what is going on, brother? How you doing? How are you feeling? How are the vibes? I see the market's like a little bit, How is olo.ex here to save my trading life? Gamer life, give me the 411.
That's a lot of questions to be answered there, my man, in one go. How are you? I'm very, very well. I see it's phenomenal to be on and much appreciated. Thank you very much for having me on. Where in the world are you? You're in the US, right?
In the beautiful US, I am the Florida man. I tell people shorts,
Fantastic.
t-shirts, a hat, keep me in this type of weather, and I am the happiest person. But a lot of people try to take me to other parts of the world, and I tell them, hey, there's no, if I can't wear my sandals and have my feet in the sand and the water, I am not going.
Well, you'll know by my accent, I'm Irish, so I can't promise that. But we can promise a good pint of beer if you ever come our way. Ever been before or no?
Never out that way. It sounds just really cold, and I'd rather you just send me a Zoom link and a video, and I'll be happy.
Well, I'm not in Ireland currently. I'm in Riyadh. I'm between Sydney and Saudi currently, so I haven't lived in Ireland for a long time. But that's where I'm originally from, but I suppose the accent is going absolutely no place. But yeah, awesome to link up and give you guys a bit of background on olo.ex, what we've built, why we've built it, what we're building, and where we're looking to go, I suppose, because this is it's quite a bit going on here. I think like the best way to frame it is, I think the way we're coming at this is our background is as traders, right? So I was a trader, TradFi, equity index derivatives. I was even on the CDO desk at the Bank of New York back during the GFC. So been around markets for, I suppose, relatively quite a while. In crypto then, traded some of the first crypto futures that ever listed on the CME. Was that maybe back end of 17, start of 18? That was my start down the rabbit hole in the crypto journey. And from there, I suppose it was around DeFi summer. Solana was a huge part of my life. Early on in Solana, I minted some of the Solana monkey business, Degen Apes, heavy trader on Serum back in the day as well. And have seen Solana, I suppose, all the way from single-digit dollars up to breakpoint Lisbon 2 times, the second time when FTX collapsed, then all the way back down to $8 and back to, I suppose, somewhat of a stable equilibrium where we are now. Middle of the range between 8 and 290 being 150 something, let's say. So the way we came about this is myself and my co-founder. So my co-founder he was a high frequency trader. He was at Optiver for a number of years. He's the gaming maven behind this. I'm more the trading side, the inspo side. He's the real gaming powerhouse. That's his passion. And I think when we found crypto, we found it as traders first. And then we found it as, I suppose, wow, there's some amazing technology being built here that we can build atop of to realize a vision that we had for quite some time. So what does it start to look like as markets move into experiential like platforms where markets become experience driven, let's say? So we've seen the rise of TV shows, entertainment has been there, let's say Wolf of Wall Street, Billions, Margin Call, all these things have kind of brought financial markets to life, but there's no real element underlying. So we went, what does it look like if we start to, I suppose, push the entertainment that we know financial markets can provide and then make it real in spots. So in our Markets 3.0 room, it's a front end for existing DeFi protocols built on top of, so there's Jupiter powering our Solana swaps, Hyperliquid powers our perps and our spots, CLOB side. A few other protocols are built on top of too, but it's our angle is, instead of how does, I suppose, crypto fit into a gaming sphere to accentuate gaming, it's more how can we build a top of what already exists in crypto using gaming technologies to accentuate that crypto experience. And that's where we've come at this Markets 3.0 concept. There's a whole world built out around that. There's a blend of what's simulated, a blend of what's real. You start off in olo.ex. It's set in the year 2056. post AGI world, you start your career on an archipelago known as Arkvale, where all trading has had to move offshore. AGI has come for all of our resources. Humans have had to be quite ingenious, have had to move offshore to enable, I suppose, still free trade to happen. That's on the simulated side. And you happen to be starting your career out there, and you progress through that very narrative-driven environment. That's the game side. And all the while underpinning that is a room which is called Markets 3.0, which you can step into, which is our experiential DeFi platform. And that's a very long introduction, which should have been short, but I'm Irish, I like to speak, so stop me anytime.
Yeah, man. So first of all, congrats on it, and congrats to being in this roller coaster of crypto. Going through all the ups and downs that you've been through in the past years. Actually, it's funny. I think we might have similar backgrounds. I spent 15 years in commercial investment banking, worked on Wall Street most of my life, and
Awesome.
when I see the word YOLO, it's not many. Even YOLO was popular in certain times, but really in the Web2 life, YOLO is something that we all used very, very commonly, especially on the trading floor. So I remember quite well. So I was pretty excited about talking to you guys and talking about YOLO. olo.ex is kind of what the handle was, and I was like, okay, where did these guys come from? And this explains it completely now, where you came from, and it makes total sense.
There's two sides to the X as well, right? So it's X as in ex-girlfriend, look back, forget about it, don't YOLO anymore, that's a silly thing to do. And then there's also just the severe reality in crypto of like, literally you only do live once. So when you're building something, build it to that exponential power. So there's a double entendre side to that X as well. But that's fascinating. So you were on Wall Street for 15 years prior to crypto / Solana, and now we're sitting chatting to each other. You're selling structured products. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, man. It's kind of hilarious to like look back at it and look back at where we were to where we are today. We're here on a live stream talking gaming / trading in a whole different, futuristic concept that many in Web2 still don't understand. And it's like, how do we get to that level of being able to break down the language, break down the barriers of having everyone understand what we are and what we're building, and why this is the future of with the way that we see monetary rails, policy, infrastructure, structure, and trading, and in the future payments, right?
Yes, 100%. And I think it's what we're building on top of crypto, and why what we're building is so like, it's kind of like, it's non-consensus, it's risky, it's out there. Like some of the feedback I've got on this is like, wow, this is crazy shit. I can see why it's set out in the year 2056, but it's literally like, try to build what we've built on top of TradFi rails would be an entirely different beast. The open nature of crypto, the ability to come along, build on top of Jupiter, build on top of Hyperliquid via their builder codes, just the culture, the builder culture in the space. So I'm non-developer. I stacked with a team of devs, but I'm the non-dev. But yeah, just build it in the space. And I suppose expanding that pie is monumental task. But then I suppose moving into new user bases, we think will require like new takes on UI, UX experiences, and very, very non-consensus, very much differentiated ones. So it's like, we came at this as like, what is trading currently? I suppose you're like on a centralized exchange. If you're a non-pro, right? If you're retail, you're logging in. It's a glorified Excel-like experience embedded in a website. But what does the next iteration start to look like? And sort of we come at it as like, just play like a little video while we're doing it. So it's like Markets 1.0, what we've coined, what we think is like, it's the transition from, let's say, barter to floor trading. Like that, humans very much at the center of it, back and forth, a little bit of fun. Markets 2.0, very much then being like the world which we lived in, we're still currently in, right? It's electronic trading, looking at screens embedded in websites, but the human element has been quasi removed from it. CT is as close to that human element as you'll get. It's as close to like, I think, the open outcry floor pits as you'll ever see. And then Markets 3.0 was a blend of all of that. What does it look like when we put the experience and the person back in control of this? And this is where I suppose this is our entire thesis. There's a new UI to be built, atop of amazing things which other teams are building and pushing that like so graciously allow us to build atop of. And that's our contribution to the space. What you're looking at there is that's our swap side powered by Jupiter on Solana. What are we trading there? We're trading Sol for USDC. This would have been taken maybe 2 weeks ago, this video that you're looking at there. So it's like a little bit of a discount. Wish you could buy it there, but we can't.
And let me ask you this, like while you're showing us this. So like, will this be browser based, mobile? Like where are you building on? Because
this is already live in Epic Games.
Oh, wow.
It's hidden behind access key, right? So the simulated side is in early access. It's open. Anyone can come and download and interact.
And how real time is this?
100% real time. If you pull up your Jupiter web browser or pull up whatever other swap interfaces we're looking at, in 99.9% of cases, we're probably going to be faster than that. So this is built, as I mentioned, like my co-founder was Optiver on the high frequency trading side. So it's built to that level of understanding.
Yeah. So what came first, like for you guys? Was it like building the game or building the DeFi first? And like, how did it like come to something like this? Like, did you guys have like an aha moment of like, this is what's needed from a trading experience? You guys lost money, you guys won money, you guys had some sort of experience like as traders that you guys were like, hey, how do we build a more, let's just say, personable, but at the same time, immersive experience in trading?
That's a very, very good question. So for us, I suppose we were both lucky enough to have had path dependency as my username there. It's like graduate engineering, mathematics, and I went straight to work at the Bank of New York on the CDO desk. So I was a professional trader from day zero, and then my co-founder was at Optiver as well. So like we never really had that losing or negative experience, let's say, where you have to torch however many accounts to earn your tuition. But seeing how the vast majority approach the space is a real learning outcome from that point of view. Like the cost of tuition in crypto, TradFi, everything it's bust accounts, many bust accounts. And what you see on crypto Twitter large as well, on leaderboards large, is like it's survivorship bias, right? 101. It's like you don't see the 99% of all the bodies that are buried along the way. And this was like our original thesis. What does it look like as we start to, I suppose, where speculation is the main use case in crypto, build the top of something good for the incoming user and helps them make informed decisions along the way. And then being able to do things in simulated worlds, level up per se, and then do things in the real world. Because let me see. Yeah, that's quite a major question, but that's the core crux of the reasoning behind building this, but also the ability to create something. Creating an entire world, trading for us, it's interesting, super interesting, like game theory all the way down. When it's like creating a product, building a world is an entirely different endeavor, and I have to hat tip my co-founder on that front. He's much more creative than I'll ever be.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like where I'm really clicking with what you're saying and what you're doing, it's like, trading is for those I'm pretty sure almost everybody, right? It's fun, but it's also very it's time consuming, right? I mean, there goes parts of trading where you're waiting for the next 4 hours just to kind of like have your thesis almost be validated. And I think with like what you're building, it allows those 4 hours to be able to kind of be put on steroids, right? Like being able to kind of like gamify that and have, an experience that allows traders not to say get bored, because you don't get bored, but to pass time in a better way.
100%. Very good take. And this is the simulated side. And what I've shown you there is the real side in Markets 3.0, but this is the simulated world. So it's like, while I suppose you're waiting for that time to elapse or pass, you can undertake our contract/faction-based missions in the olo.ex world. And some of this is still kind of, I suppose, not been fully disclosed yet. I can say little bits about it, but like, earn native olo.ex tokens for completing specific missions out in simulated world. So what you're going to see now is this is in game. We're going to take you out into the simulated world. You control a fleet of drones, each with different trading capabilities. And as we're set up in the year 2056, there's each of these buildings represents different products, and we have AR projections of trading ladders, trading interfaces available on each one. So yeah, from the point of view of passing time while you're waiting to trade, while still being immersed in the markets, what they're doing, this is definitely for you. Because I think like crypto has really, really expanded on the size of people who can. It's been phenomenal to see actually. Previously, like I suppose you mentioned there, you're on Wall Street. If you wanted to interact with markets, you had to have certain sizable cash base to be able to log into like your eToro, your E-Trade account. Just to start, your commissions would have been sky high, very, very difficult. And then crypto comes along in DeFi, and it's like, doesn't matter if you have 10 USDC, 100 USDC, 100,000 USDC, all the way up, away you go. You can just get started. You can dive in. You can do things that would have been very, very difficult previously to have figured out how to do, let's say, from the point of view of interacting. And that's been one of the major unlocks in crypto for me, certainly, anyway, from how many more people, especially younger people, are interested in financial markets now.
Yeah, I mean, like that's exactly for me where I see like when I look at like a futuristic report of like when lot of research and development, let's just say reports and stuff like this, you look at like where TikTok is and what TikTok did, and before that it was Instagram, and there was a short spurt with Vine, and there was like a lot of little things here and there. And it's like, great, we're understanding this whole world of the metaverse, right? Which I think we already live in. But the word metaverse itself is always just one of those tricky things that doesn't want. It's like saying the word.
It's too catch-all, right? It's like it doesn't mean anything. It means something different to everyone that whom it's said to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what it's like you're already living in it, right? Because essentially, like if you look at the average human being on what social apps they have and what they post on their social apps already, it's like, okay, you are living in the metaverse. You just didn't realize it. Now the issue I think is we all have this feeling or think of the metaverse should look very futuristic, kind of what you guys even have here on the screen. And it's like, does it have to be that, right? It might not have to be that. It might be already what we're in. And so how do we now able to capture the next, 100, let's just say 1,000 users, 1 million users, 10 million users. And it's finding ways like this to gamify it, to immerse them, to want to learn, to want to trade, improve their trading experience. And I think like trading itself is like, again, like one of those things that, you're part of cabals, you're part of groups, you're part of training classes, whatever it is, on the floor with your friends. Like,
it's replicated. It's replicated the entire way the floor trading, from my perspective, from all the research. I was never on the floor. That was certainly pre my time. But the way that camaraderie and like that was the trenches, right? That was absolute dog eat dog cutthroat. That was. There's some amazing movies on it, some amazing documentaries too.
When I hear trenches now, I'm like, people don't know what the trenches were. Like, I'm like, people don't have a clue what the trenches are.
Some of the stories from those days are like really, really crazy. So I suppose like myself I suppose Markets 2.0 graduate was me, but then it's like have studied every single thing that I find interesting that I could ever get my hands on in markets. And like, I suppose one of the most famous traders of all time, Paul Tudor Jones. He has a documentary out there that goes back to, it shows him trading on the floor. Very, very difficult to even find and watch this documentary anymore. You start to get all the copies taken off the market. But that is the trenches. This is a modern day representation of what those trenches were, but we're not reinventing the wheel from a psychological standpoint. This stuff existed previously. It wasn't. Twitter didn't exist. You couldn't access it. You had to pay for your floor seat. DeFi has entirely removed that necessity to pay to access these markets. You can literally come, as I said previously, with your 1 USDC and away you go. And it's a huge monumental unlock. But back to your metaverse comment, it's like, yeah, that word means so many things to so many people, but it's like we haven't coined that previously. Trading related metaverse, and I kind of like, I get it. I see why people would mention that, but I've two things. I think it's like You said the word there, immersive. I think it's a hardware unlock, really, the true metaverse. And what that will look like, who knows? I think we're still in the very, very early stages of that. But I think now we are in the emergent, early phases of a metaverse. And I think the metaverse it won't be just come hang out with your friends. It won't be just chat. It'll have to be kind of based around something which people are already doing, and being in this space, this virtual / immersive space, augments or improves their experience of doing that. So say something like the financial markets, or something potentially more voice related. That would be the first absolutism metaverse. That'd be my bet if I were to make a bet. Well, I suppose I am making a bet, building what I'm building in the space. But yeah, that'd be how I think that this place will evolve over time. I really like that take, actually, around that word being difficult to box.
Yeah, and I think even what you guys are building is very different in the sense that, like, you know, when you look at gaming and you look at PvP, PvE, you look at that whole aspect of even Web3 gaming, of like token grinding and, you know, armor. Yeah. Like, this is very, very much unique in the sense that it's none of that, almost, in the sense, right? Like
it's an exchange like model in our markets 3.0 world. Let's say that's the monetization layer. But on top of that, then you got an entire virtual world that exists around of that. So yeah, it's like that, but it's none of that. It's difficult to encapsulate even in a few words or even like in a little bio. That's why this chat is, I'm really enjoying this. Much appreciated.
Yeah, so it makes me like go into, like, you know, let's talk Web3, Web2 in a sense. Like, you guys are on the Epic Game Store. We know Epic has been very much okay with the blockchain side of it. It hasn't really like given it like its full endorsement. Has a huge, you know, asterisk in every single game that's on the Epic Game Store that says this is a blockchain game. I think Off the Grid is doing a great example of where blockchain is all on the back end. I think FIFA Rivals, if you've downloaded that, has been probably the best case study we have in Web3 of what gaming should be right now in its current today's stage. But this definitely is one that's interesting to me, as well as, like, this is a game. Trading is a game at the end of the day. Sure, like it's like one of those things where gambling, like sports betting, is it gambling? Like, there's always that. It's like that is cereal a soup type thing, like question.
Blurring of lines.
Yeah. And so, like, when it comes back down to what you guys are here, what are the obstacles right now currently you all are facing? And, like, you guys have overcome a major obstacle by being on the Epic Game Store. But what do you think the next 6 months for what you guys are building? Like, what are you excited about? But also, you know, at the same time, you know that there is hurdles in Web3 because, shoot, you have the best experience from being part of the trading life of it, of the up and downs in Web3.
The hurdles of building in crypto it's that black swans are not black swans. It's like they're just the frequency of things that come along that just go, don't just punch you in the face, but just shove a dagger into your heart. It's just phenomenal. And there's like an article I read previously, I can't remember who it was by. It's on Twitter. It's like speed running financial history, right? Crypto has just done that, like, on absolute steroids, right? It's like, so I haven't been a trader, traded through the GFC, traded through the European debt crisis, traded the Japanese earthquake, like extreme, however many sigma events you want to call these things. Crypto does that. Well, maybe not so much anymore. It kind of still does, but in the previous 2-3 years, it's doing that every couple of months, right? So the building in the space is very, very, how do I phrase it? You have to experiment with everything and then try to front run figuring out what you should be integrating. So we were experimenting with Hyperliquid late last year. Right. And then we suddenly had a very quick realization this can power so much of what we want to do. So we had built, we have built. There's the limit order book capabilities on Solana is in that Markets 3.0 box there as well in that room. But I suppose just the liquidity on Hyperliquid, the speeds on Hyperliquid, what it's enabled from us. And I suppose we had like a little bit of a head start of building there. You have to experiment with these things and dive in so early. But then I suppose back to your question is what the roadblocks are, or we've surmounted quite a few. As I said, you know, we raised solely to kind of build on Solana. But then obviously it became very apparent, post FTX, you got to have more. We were going to launch on just Solana, but then it's like, no, hang on a second. We can, because of FTX, we got this little window here. The pressure to push out a major launch isn't as urgent. We can spend a little more time on the Markets 3.0, integrate more protocols, more DeFi stuff under the hood. And now I think there's like 9 chains we're on top of there. But I think back to your question is like, what are we facing? We're facing kind of everything all at once from all angles. We've got some amazing legal representation, amazing setups. But the reality is with these things, we're pushing ahead with our vision. We're a front end for accessing existing DeFi protocols. So that's how we currently sit. Now, who's to say in season 2, we wouldn't be more like a centralized offering, let's say, maybe white labeling some centralized exchanges under the hood. Potentially, has been some conversations to that effect, but I can't go too far into that either. But for now, what we've built, we're happy with where we're at, but we know we have so much more to do. But we do not know what the one thing that's going to come out and go bang, that puts a dagger in your heart this time, compared to the last 3 that look to put that dagger in your heart, or phrase it like that. And it's existential continually in crypto.
Yeah. How important is the bull market versus the bear market for a game like what you're building, right? Like, do you all believe that there's an importance to that? I almost asked the question just because I think like this is something that bull or bear, this is the way to keep a trader active in any market cycle.
There's two sides of an answer to that question. There's pre-TGE and post-TGE. So we're currently pre-TGE, so bull, bear, there's volatility in the markets. A product like this will persist and improve over time. But then obviously post-TGE, which we're, again, can't say too much, but our TGE is on the horizon, or phrase it like that. Anyone listening here should definitely be following us on X, because there's some big announcements coming up. Little plug in the coming, let's just call it weeks. But post TGE, obviously, haven't launched a token previously, but just see what a founder's journey looks like post TGE. It's entirely different. Your trajectory changes. But I suppose us being traders, somewhat being able to differentiate between token price up, down, sideways, compared to what magnitude of what we're building and attempting to build. It's, yeah, a lot of passion has gone into building this, what we've built so far, let's say.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love the answer as well, because again, like, look, I think my whole thing is like, product market fit, right? Product market fit in gaming is just something sometimes people don't actually do the due diligence of what it is. And with product market fit, there's also the play testing, beta testing, the alpha testing, and like actually listening to the feedback to what is actually being built, if it's building for the right client or users that will use this. And I think like it's really cool to see, like, I could tell that a lot of what you just showed us right now is based on, hey, people giving feedback and you guys working together and still being able to ship and produce this, because I could tell the features as a trader as well. Like, what stood out to me inside of these video clips that you just showcased. And so it's like, okay, great. They're definitely very much understanding it. And it's important for that, especially for a pre-TGE campaign. That's why I ask of the bull and the bear how important it is. And I think like going into TGE, you're going to get the when token questions. But at the same time, the ability to have utility and to have utility within the game speaks louder than being able to sell a dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's been our take from the very, very start of like, we wanted to have quite a lot built pre-TGE. Just validation from ourselves that a lot of this was even possible, let's say, because there's some very, very difficult engineering challenges looking to put like not just acceptable, but like correct market speeds, right? Latencies in gaming engine, and interactable and tradable against that. It would be like as good as, if not better than, if you were to go to the 11 websites as a retail user to be able to do what you can do in that top left-hand screen. But yeah, post TGE, the world is just, I think, like, everything's moving so fast. So, like, this is not publicly released, but this is like we're currently making a TGE announcement video, and we're leaning heavily into its VO3, right? Google's latest offering. And what we've done on that side, like with the text to prompt, utilizing some of our not in-game assets, but like starting images, it starts to become, seeing where this space will go is very, very exciting. It's a very, very exciting time to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah. What do you think like we talked a little bit about like the next 6 months and everything, but like the next 6 months are also very critical in Web3, in gaming, in the markets. We're seeing Solana ETFs. We're seeing a lot of Solana, being put on balance sheets. I mean, we're seeing a lot of
TradFi moves in big ways, which you've seen by the Circle IPO, huge, right? Like that's what it looks like when real money, real TradFi money comes to play in a space. If a thing is perceived to be undervalued, billions and billions and billions come in to chase the thing, and it gets bid up and stays and persists. It's like, it's a different world. Sometimes I think like this is going to be very, very important in the next few weeks, months, years, even in cryptos. Like, we've been so exposed to the crypto native side of things, crypto native ecosystem, that as we transition back across now to like institutional money coming into play in the space, they move in different ways than the way we move, let's say. And I think like not losing sight of this is still an emerging technology, it's still very exciting. Stablecoins are extremely exciting to Wall Street at the minute, and like just being aware of how those monetary flows happen, how those investment flows happen when real money comes to play is going to be super, super exciting to watch over the coming weeks and months. And Solana's obviously extremely well positioned for this. Like the guys, I think you would have been at Accelerate, right? I wasn't at Accelerate. I've been at every breakpoint, but I wasn't at Accelerate. Just too much on. I think you would have seen like a lot of announcements there on the TradFi side of like all the way down, stocks coming on chain, right? Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Accelerate was definitely a eye-opening in the sense that, hey man, I spent 15 years wearing a suit every single day of my life. In crypto, I've worn a black T-shirt and shorts and everything. I showed up to Accelerate wearing a T-shirt and shorts, and then I looked around the room and I said, "Oh, damn!" I was like, "Looks like we've evolved, and looks like the demographics have changed here." And so I went quickly and changed to like some pants and like a nicer T-shirt, and I was like, "Okay," I was like, "I gotta fit in the room," and that's huge, even for what you guys are doing here. And it's why I ask like what the next 6 months is, because we are seeing different types of money coming into the space. We are seeing more TradFi. We are seeing more people looking to explore what Web3 is. And so I think like, how do we make sure that they come here and they don't get discouraged, right? Because if you come here as a new person, I'll tell you, it is very discouraging because there's a language issue, there's a trading issue, there's a very much different mindset needed to trade within Web3 versus the Web2. So with all that said, I think like why I keep alluding to YOLO here is like, man, if you're able to provide this bridge that's needed, especially for
this character, Trent Whitlock, he's your supervisor in that Markets 3.0 room. He's there with you from your very first step, the second you step inside that room to bring you through your journey. That's awesome. Right? How complex it is. Like, it's extremely complex. Crypto's complex, DeFi's complex. You can simplify it, and then you can simplify it too much also, let's say, because there is a reality of when you're interacting with markets, you do need a certain requisite knowledge. Otherwise, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. Like, your early wins will be sheer luck, not able to be replicated. It's like you're just doing negative EV things again and again and again and again, get lucky. Negative EV things again and again, get lucky. And it's like, yeah, we're trying to like, I suppose, temper that a little bit. It's like, we're not going up against the universe of AAA games. We're not competing for like how many hours you want to do on whatever your current game of the, let's say, week, month, fortnight is, right? Like, it's like, no, you can step in here 20, 25 minutes a day, every couple of days, interact with these things at your own pace. And it's like, try to make it like not boring too, right? It's like, how do people learn about markets? One, by getting wrecked, right? Or then by reading, right? Reading. But it's like, how do we like, gamification is a strong word. It's kind of a dangerous word too. Gamification to this point is like, let's say, balloons on an app, a little bit of confetti when you do a negative EV trade that's getting eaten alive on some other side by a very, very extraordinarily profitable firm. What does it look like when we start to use gamification in a way that's much, much better for the end user, right? Bring them along that journey in a, again, that gamification is a bit like metaverse word. It can be a bit dangerous connotation sometimes too. It's more like improving the experience for the incoming user using gaming technology as opposed to gamification as a tagline.
You made me start thinking exactly that. It's like, what is gamification? What does it really mean? It's such a tricky word, but what is it? Because like, man, gamification is already like everything is gamified. Like everything.
Gamification in financial markets is currently really, like, if we're being very honest, it's like getting you to do a negative EV thing, more of it, and feel slightly better about it. That's kind of what it currently is. You get crucified for saying that, maybe, but I'm happy to say that to you. We're trying to like reframe that a little bit in, well, what's gaming? What can we do with gaming? What good can you do on the gaming side? Putting that as a UI UX layer atop of markets and have that as a new gamification frontier. We're very much experimenting at this too. We're certainly not purporting to have all the answers in this space. This is new. This is, we're a few years into this journey. There's many more years to be spent on this, but we definitely think we're on to something here,
Yeah. No, totally. Like, I'm totally excited about what you guys are building.
And post TGE, of course, our native token will sit in here.
Yeah. No, I think like really exciting to have this on today's stream. It's been really, really awesome to kind of hear like all of what olo.ex is. And I think more it's that people are now being able to, hey, deep dive into after this stream and kind of like figure out, again, where they want to fit within the game and what part of the game they want to be part of, right? I think like the aspects of the different rooms, levels, all that, right? What were the maps and everything, how it all immerses for them, tiered to them is the most important thing. So congrats. I mean, definitely congrats to you and your team, and congrats. I'm excited for the upcoming next couple of days, and I guess I could now start saying the when token. I'm going to make sure I am that comment every single time.
Oh, well, yeah, you could be that comment, but much appreciated. And honestly, thank you so much for having me on. And likewise, I'll flick it back to you. Like, you guys have done some phenomenal work on the Solana gaming side as well. It's been really, really great to see the amplification of cool stuff that's getting built in the space, right? I think so
I'll send you 5 SOL for that comment. Thank you, man.
It was, man, we agreed, no?
you didn't keep going. You stopped me short.
I stopped you short. But yeah, I think like one of our earliest backers, sold Big Brain over at Big Brain Holdings. I think like the Solana ecosystem it's strong. It's full of resilience, right? Like, scroll back through his feed, see where he was buying Solana on dips, and then seeing it all the way back through. It's like, it's a roller coaster of a space. Yeah, speed running financial history. And now it's definitely not the end game, but I think like, as you said, there are ETFs, companies putting crypto on balance sheets. It'd be more interesting when we see real big crypto companies putting crypto on their balance sheets as opposed to vehicles putting crypto on their balance sheets. And we've seen there's some interesting stuff going on that side. And I think various ways of launching and pushing products out. So much experimenting in the space. It's really, really awesome to see. But yeah, thank you so much. Really, really enjoyed that. And thank you for listening to me.
Yeah. And I guess like my last couple questions to you would be is, you've been an entrepreneur, you've been up through the ups and downs, you're a trader, you're building a game. What's the one piece of advice you could give us on being an entrepreneur in Web3? Like, what is that? Like, to be able to have that resilience, the consistency, the dedication, and still be here after the many years of a roller coaster ride?
That's a phenomenal question. And I think My answer for that, you have to give me like maybe 5 seconds to think so I can frame it a little bit, is that what we're building, Markets 3.0, I know will exist, should exist. Maybe we're a little early on the journey, but we're definitely one of the best placed teams to realize this vision insofar as the current technology exists to build what we're building. But I envision a world, and we've already set in this world. It's hardware limited currently, where that immersive metaverse, it's like Iron Man, but you can trade markets via your headset. We've done that. We've put on a headset. We've interacted with Markets 3.0. We've sat bids, sat offers, using gestures. It's really, really cool, but it's currently a novelty, right? But that world will exist in single-digit X number of years. I suppose my main drive is the creative force working together to push that world and bring it into something that kind of sits in your head as like, oh, that'd be cool. Something just, let's go and let's build this. That's like my main answer to that question, that what you're building and what you're working on, you have to be like, so much, as I said, shit comes at you, daggers in your heart, trying to kill you at various turns. If you really, really believe in what it is you're trying to create, what you're trying to bring into the world, those things are largely surmountable, touch wood. That'd be my answer in a nutshell to that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think it's good, great advice again to understand some of the mindset that's needed to be part of this. And again, like this is a tough road that we're always on, and we're building in public as well, and that's even more tougher. So shout out to you and shout out to your team. Are you a coffee or energy drink guy?
Oh, I'm a coffee, energy drink, pre-workout, everything guy. I'm in so many different time zones. Just, I don't know what I'd be able to survive without coffee. Like, I never drank coffee pre being a trader. When I was a student, I didn't drink coffee. Don't know why. Obviously, was younger. Didn't need it. I suppose the clarity was there on the math side, on the engineering side, and then you enter the markets, and it's like, wow, any single little focus edge. I think people go a lot further in financial markets, all the way down the SBF route of how far you can go into that focus concentration side of things. Short answer, I'm a coffee guy. Yes, I am.
Favorite video game?
Oh, man, you're going to take me back to being like way, way, way younger. I'm either going to say Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy VII. Maybe Final Fantasy VII, just because I spent so long in that world. It was like the first big world that I interacted with, let's say. Really, really loved. It was a precursor to markets, but my favorite video game ever is the financial markets.
Which crypto founder would you wish to be in the room with playing your game today?
That's such an interesting question. Which crypto founder would I love to be in there? That is such an interesting question. I'm going to have to say Jeff from Hyperliquid, just because we built the top Hyperliquid. I'd have to just put a controller in his hands, see what he thinks of what we have built. There's many I could name, many that have done so many difficult things in the space, but that'd be my current answer. Jeff from Hyperliquid.
Most confusing crypto acronym?
Oh my God, there's so many. Let me see.
What's one that you had to Google?
Buildle with the L and the D in the wrong spot, spelled incorrectly. Build, but that was an old one. There's so many, and there's so many like niche crypto Twitter ones too that aren't just acronyms, but are like deeply embedded in the lore that pop up from time to time of like famous tweets, Kobe tweets, GCR tweets. We did a little take on one of our characters like reading tweets. We did like 1 of 5. I'll share them with you afterwards. Yeah, there's like acronyms. It's more like the nuance of the language that's used in the space that can be definitely, it's embedded in the culture, and I really, really love it. But for a new person coming to it, can be just such a not a barrier, but something that, right, need to go and figure out what this is, what they're trying to tell me.
Last one. Are you a degen or cautious investor?
Oh no, I'm a degen. But insofar as degens exist, it's a matrix, right? It's like in that quadrant, probably all the way out on the degen side, but then cautiously investing as a degen That's a very, very interesting question. In
Well,
however many space, yeah, you want me to give an answer on that? It's a spectrum, right? My answer is path depend. My username is path dependency. It depends on the day. Depends on what's needed at the time. What about you for that?
Oh man, it depends. I think I've gone through. I think it's a great question, but it's also the question of what stage of life am I at, right?
Yes, fair.
And I think that depending on the stage of life where I've been a very much YOLO degen and have lost a lot of it, and then also built a lot of it because of it, but knowing that second time that you built it, being more cautious going into the degen the third time. I think that's just like depending on the stage of life.
Yeah, don't discount it too much because, as you say, the skills necessary to get to that portfolio all-time high are the skills needed to blow way past it as well. And that's one of the things with crypto. It's like you can start with relatively small amounts too, and you can make a lot of mistakes on those small
Yeah.
amounts. Run up portfolios, run them back. This is like somewhat we're trying to replicate too. So I've had days in TradFi where it feels like I've never actually physically puked, but it feels like that. Like replicating elements of that in simulated worlds pre people graduating to doing these things in real worlds is definitely an interesting space for us to explore. I'll phrase it like that because, it's speed run and financial history. I use that word again. It's just the amount of people who have like now been exposed to flash crashes, pumps, just illiquid environments. These things were previously like quite gate kept. It was difficult, and like I think like partially the excitement around crypto is like it's emergent from that. It's like this is just markets are exciting things to be involved in, right?
Totally. I mean, like you got me like reminiscing here of like the ups and downs, and again why we're even here. But Path Dependency, I appreciate you coming on. I love everything you guys are building. Big fan. We'll definitely keep the notifications on. olo.ex on Twitter. What's the website though? Give us the website plug and give us how do we follow you and stay up with your upcoming news?
So it's at olo.ex, DOTEX on X, as you said. The site is www.yolo and then ex.io. And from there, you can get linked to the Epic Game Store. And on X, you get linked to all our socials as well. And my socials then it's at Path Dependency on X. That's my primary one. But to be honest, if you go there, there's going to be a whole heap of retweets, quote tweets of olo.ex stuff lately because this thing is, you get so myopic in building something like this, this becomes it, 100% of the focus, 100% of the time. There's not too much alpha to be gleaned from my current X activity, barring what's going on in YOLO. I'll phrase it like that.
Well, man, appreciate you coming on. Thank you for everything. Until the next one, we're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. EST. Another exciting stream tomorrow. So make sure y'all tune in and make sure you hit the follow and like for YOLO.x. Until the next one, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great